Okay, for the next one, we are going to do this part. We're going to focus on our tangent arcs and circles as well as the offset command. So offset is very commonly used in manufacturing of products when we want to have a uniform thickness of the walls or something all the way around. We're removing the material in here for whatever reason, maybe to make it lighter or something's got to go in there, who knows, okay? But it's something that's very common, and Inventor actually has an offset command because it's so common. So we're going to use this. There's a couple dimensions we're going to have to make up. The drawing's not the greatest, but we'll make it work. And we also notice that it's symmetrical, so we're going to mirror it. So I'm going to start off by being on my top plane and then rotating it around. That way my vertical is still vertical, my horizontal is still horizontal. And I'm going to start in the middle again. And in my arc here, I've got a couple of options. Almost all the time, I'm going to use the 3-point arc. For this one, I'm going to start off with the center point arc because I'm going to connect the center point. Down here, it tells me what it wants me to do. Select the center. I'm going to click that and go right above to start and then over here. So I'm kind of creating that arc off of the point here, okay? So now I'm going to start to draw my shape, right? So I'm going to come down, arc around, go up, arc over, and then finish with an arc at the top. So I've got my line command. I'm going to go off at an angle. We'll fix this relationship here later. I'm going to click. Now, from here, if I look over there, this line comes down and goes right into that arc and then up. So this is a tangent arc. So I could go back through and use one of my commands here, but this is very common when we're drawing our shapes. So Inventor has put in where you can, right now, the edge of or in between my crosshairs is yellow. If I put my mouse on the end, it turns gray. And then if I click, so I'm clicking on the mouse and I'm dragging, it creates like an arc. Okay, so now I'm going to go kind of like over here and up. And when I come out, I have two choices. I can either be vertical or I can be tangent. It doesn't matter which one because I'm going to have to add the other later. So I'm just going to do the vertical one. And then from there, I'm going to come out at an angle. I'm going to go up to the top. And I'm going to kind of, again, go like that. And I'm going to make sure that none of these dotted lines show up because that's goofy. So even though that's wrong right now, we're going to fix it. Okay. So I'm going to add in, so I have, right, I already have a tangent there. I already have a tangent between these two. Right. Make those tangent, which is already there. Make this tangent in here. I already have the tangent there. Clean up my tangent there, right? So again, this is not 100% the way I want it to look, but it's getting close. Okay, so now I'm going to add some constraints. So I'm going to start off with vertical constraints. I'm going to make the arc center points vertical to each other. It's not lined up. They actually didn't do a very good job of measuring this one. So we're going to, but we know we got that straight line. So these are going to be vertical to each other. Okay, here where I started my arc, even though I started here and went straight up, this vertical relationship is important because if I have half my arc on this side, when I mirror it, I need the other half there. If it's not lined up directly, we're going to have like a weird point. So same thing here. This point of my arc where it comes down needs to be directly above the center point. So again, the center point's kind of on that line, and here I've got that little bit of an arc there. So I've got that going, okay? Then all of them have the same radius of 20. So I'm going to dimension the first one at 20. I'm going to shrink everything way down because apparently I was drawing a gigantic shape. And then I'm going to make them equal to each other. So this one is equal to that. That's equal to this. Okay, and that's, I think it's already there because of the two lines. And then make it equal to that one back there. And then that should be fine. Yep, so now all of my arcs are equal. Okay, and again, it's way out of whack, but we're not going to worry about it because as we start to add some dimensions, we're going to fix it. Okay, so because we're doing half of this, and one of the reasons why we did all the arcs instead of adding fillets is because most of the dimensions in this drawing are referenced off of center points. So we need those center points in order to draw it. So this bottom circle and arc here, there's only one center point there, so they all share the same one. It's 88 millimeters from the middle. The arc, a center point for my top arc. So that's this one here to there, right? It's 88. So it's going to stretch it way out. Okay, then I got 140 between these two, all right, or 70 off the center line. So this to that center mark is 70. So that pushes it out that way a little bit. Okay. So now we have that center point for this arc to the center point of the arc above it is 105. So these two right here are 105. Okay, you're starting to get there a little bit. And then what we need is, I'm going to get out of my dimension command, right? We know that this kind of looks something like this. So when I start to kind of click and drag around and I'm trying to move some things, right? The only thing that's really moving is, I'm going to get in there, the height of this center point. So somewhere on my drawing, there should be probably a measurement between these two center points, and there isn't. There's this random 90 over here, which I can't figure out where it goes. It just kind of comes in. I don't know if it's they just clicked on the wrong thing when they dimensioned it, right? So we're gonna do it the way it should be done, which there should be a dimension between the center points, and then we're gonna give that a value. So we're just gonna eyeball it because it doesn't really matter. So I gave it a value of 60. It looks like close enough. So I'll finish my sketch. We'll extrude it. 30. And then we'll mirror it like we did with the other part. We'll mirror the whole thing off of that middle line. Click OK. And then now I'm going to add the circles in next, right? So when I offset, I want to have all my features on there, and then I'm going to offset the whole thing. So we're going to create a new sketch here. And then we'll add 3 circles, roughly where they're going to go. They're all the same size, 3 at a diameter of 20. So make them equal to each other. All right. Dimension one of them to 20. And then we got to line them up. All right. So earlier I said that there's only one center point on the arcs and the circles. That means they share one. That relationship is called concentric. Okay. So concentric, that pops up here, causes 2 arcs, circles, or ellipses to have the same center point. So if I make this concentric with that, it lines up. This concentric with that lines up. This concentric with that. So I don't have any dimensions I have to put on it. I've just placed them where they are. I already did all the hard work. So we'll finish our sketch. Extrude. Cut. All. Good. Okay, so now we've got to create our offset. We'll create a new sketch on the surface. And here's my offset command. So offset kind of just makes a duplicate geometry and offsets it so that the radiuses are correct and all that stuff. So we'll click on that, and we want to offset this line. But notice when I go, there's nothing. I can't click on anything. That's because, like before, when I did the circles, it kind of highlighted and became yellow. I have to project my geometry. I don't know if this is project or project because it says projects the edges. So I think it's probably project geometry. So I'm going to project the whole shape. And now those all turn yellow, and those become usable. So when I click on offset in there, I can bring this in. And then I'm going to offset each circle. I could just draw circles off that center point, but this is easy because I'm already in the command. We'll make those all equal to each other. And we need an offset distance. They don't really give us one. Normally there should be like a measurement on the thickness of this wall somewhere that tells us what it is. But they do give us right here that this radius from the center point here is 15. And the radius of this circle, right, diameter of 20, is a radius of 10. So the distance difference is 5. So our offset distance is going to be 5. So when I make one of them 5, all of those lines that I drew, right, became 5. And then when I make this 30, right, or a radius of 15, everything else locks in, and you can see they kind of line up with each other like they're supposed to. So that's it for my offset. That was pretty easy. We'll finish our sketch. We'll extrude this out of the middle. It's going to be a cut. Right, so here we got 5 left at the bottom from 30. So that's going to be 25 millimeters down. And then the only thing we have left to do is clean up all of our edges here with our fillet. So our fillet here is a radius of 5. And so we'll zoom in a little bit. I got one there. I got one there. Notice again with the fillet, you don't have to move the view around as long as you can get to like where they would be. It'll highlight that because it kind of knows what you're trying to do. Click OK, and there we go. Save it, name it, and you're done.